Hey guys, Eric Grotebois. So I want to talk about how to set up a not-for-profit. This question comes up all the time, and honestly, it's a small part of our practice, but a growing part of our practice. So you guys know EPGD Attorneys at Law. We're in Miami, Florida, but we have clients literally all over the world, certainly all over the state and the country. I'm personally admitted to practice law in 5 jurisdictions, but most of my business is right here, and most of it's inbound to Miami. So when people say, listen, I have this great cause, I have this great idea, I have this vision, I want to help this certain group of people, a lot of times we're actually doing fundraising to help foreign charities. So for example, a Venezuelan charity wants to raise money from the Venezuelan community here in Miami. That's just one example. We did a lot of things with wildlife and nature and water projects in Dominican Republic. So there's a 3-step process to creating your not-for-profit, okay? So first you need to pick what state. So in the United States, we have 50 states, and every state has its own laws for setting up companies. So we need to pick what state we're gonna create the company in. And the short and easy answer is do whatever's local. So if you're in Texas, set up a Texas not-for-profit. If you're in Florida, set up a Florida not-for-profit. So again, I'm sitting in Miami. Most of my clients are inbound to Miami. And so we generally set up a Florida not-for-profit corporation. The fees are very modest. The state is not trying to make money off the not-for-profits. I think it's $35 to file the articles of incorporation. Little practitioner tip here. So when you file, a lot of people know that you can go onto sunbiz.org and you can create your own companies, and you can get an accountant to do it, you can get a lawyer to do it, you can try and do it yourself, you can do LegalZoom. And so when you do it online on the state of Florida website, if you just do it there, it'll give you articles of incorporation, right? The standard template articles of incorporation. So here's the tip. Don't do it that way. Because when we get to step 2, which is filing with the IRS wants to see specific language that you have to do manual. You have to do it custom. You have to do it yourself, and you got to do it old school where you mail it or fax it in, okay? So when you do the articles of incorporation, you have to include certain language, so don't do the standard one that just gives you the generic template. Okay, that's the tip. So that's step 1. So we create the company. Step 2 is we have to apply with the IRS, okay? And the IRS is going to ask us 3 questions. So question number 1 is this organization board-driven or member-driven? So a board-driven organization, which by the way is the vast majority, is going to be minimum 3, over the age of 18, competent, and I like to say no felonies. And so we need 3 directors. And that is the most common way where, let's say it's my idea, but I get 2 friends to come on board. And what we'll do is we'll say in the bylaws that I'm on the initial board and that you can't remove me without unanimous consent, which means I have to remove myself, right? That is the vast majority. The other type is a membership, which is much more common for like a Rotary Club, where a Rotary Club has a membership where people apply, they become members, they pay dues, they have to meet certain qualifications to be members, and then on an annual basis, the members will elect a board of directors, so the board is changing every year. That's much more common for groups. Versus if you just have a cause, it'll be the majority, in my experience, are the board-driven. Okay, that's question 1. Question 2 is it going to be a private foundation or a public charity? So a private foundation is where the majority of the money comes from one small group or one family. Versus a public charity is we're going to be soliciting money from everywhere, and certainly 1 or 2 people might make large donations, but it's not going to be the majority, okay? And so the vast majority of my experience is doing public charities. Little practitioner note on that one, if you just do the default, it defaults you to private foundation. Which means if you're like, oh wait, like if you apply to Amazon's like, wait, we don't work with private foundations, we only work with public charities, and now you've literally got to restart the process with the IRS. The third question the IRS is going to ask you is, are you going to be big or small? That is $50,000 a year or more in the first 3 years, each year. Most people are like, well, what if I start off small, but then I get big? I'm like, well, that's a nice problem to have. So that's step number 2. We apply for the IRS. Now, a little side note, you're allowed to start fundraising while your application is pending. It might take months to get approved. And then step 3, you need to register with each state where you're going to do active fundraising. So I say if you just set up a website and somebody from New York makes a donation, you probably don't need to register in New York. But if you have a gala in Miami, you definitely need to register with the state of Florida. So those are the 3 main steps to setting up your not-for-profit. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. Give me a call if you guys ever have any questions.